What do skeletons, convention tetris, and stashing cardboard have to do with creativity? Find out on this month's episode of the PepTalk Creative Corner Podcast, recorded live at the 2025 Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention. Small note, because we recorded this episode in front of a live audience, there may be a few audio issues here and there. Thank you for your understanding.
Hello, and welcome to the Creative Corner Podcast. Woo! We are here live at Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention.
Yay!
Woo! Thank you, audience.
Yes, and so I'm Katie Silverwings, and this is
Allie D. Art.
And we are joined by our special guest.
Brandon Olmstead from Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention. I am the chairman of this wonderful convention. I'm also one of the content creators and co-host of Geek Tank Radio here in Memphis on 98.1 The Max, Sundays at 8 a.m.
Awesome.
So you're used to talking into a microphone.
Oh, yeah.
You seem so comfortable.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, we've been doing Geek Tank since 2016.
Oh, wow.
April of 2016. And it's me, Joe Thorderson, who is the founder of MCFC, as well as the financier, and Alan Gilbreth, who is just a basic nuisance. We love him, but he gets us all into trouble.
You know, sometimes the best people in our lives are the biggest nuisances.
They really are. They inspire us so much. I've always been creative, but Alan's the person who goes, well, why don't you do it? And it's like, I didn't even think about it. It's like, well, I want to do this, but, and he goes, that's not a reason not to.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say that you guys need to round him up at some point and get him on here too.
Oh, give us his contact info. And I will say, we will have links to where you can find Geek Tank Radio and all of Brandon's other stuff in the show notes and elsewhere when this episode comes out, so you can actually find things. So Allie's got our first question for you, sir.
Yes. So, kind of a basic question, but how did you get started in this? How did you get started in running this amazing convention?
It was absolutely bad karma.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to be honest.
Okay.
I was approached by a friend of mine. Her name is Nicole, and she was running gaming for the first year of MCFC. She was trying to find something going on, and I was a part of a group called Lost Gamers Productions. We did a interactive game called Debate of the Dead. It's 4 hours, middle of the night. Might be a zombie outbreak, might not. You're the president's cabinet, and you're doing your thing. And we've been running it for a couple of years, and at Mid-South Con, ShadowCon, and at the time GameCon Memphis. And she's like, "Would you guys want to be the guest for MCFC?" And I was like, "What is MCFC?" And she goes, "Well, I was talking with Shorty Stuart Bergman, who used to be a constable. He's 112 feet tall. He's passed, but I'll always blame him for me being part of MCFC." Because I said, "Oh yeah, that would be awesome," because we'd been approached to do things for the cons in Memphis before, but not be guests. So it's like, "Oh, cool! I get a room. I get to do this. Awesome." We were down at the Cook Convention Center that first year, and in the span of the 8 months from her talking to me about it and the con actually happening, it went from me being a guest,
oh no,
to me helping run gaming because she moved to Florida,
of course,
to me yelling at Joe because he was doing everything wrong, and then me becoming a part of the con. But by the time the con started, I was running gaming, and it was a complete insane trip. And I've slowly been going for years. I've been running the programming. We always joke that Joe has a con, I run his con. And just before COVID, Joe passed on the chairman position to me.
Oh, wow.
And that first year, me getting to be chairman, MCFCX, embrace change was our big banner. And we then got locked down like 6 months later.
You embraced a different kind of change.
Right. But we ran with it. I collaborated with Kat Caputo, who she's one of the artists here, to create our mascot, AD. I gave her a little description. She knocked it out of the park, and it's more and more. It's I've become invested. And it's like, all right, I can't imagine not doing it at this point.
Oh.
And, so I owe this all to the point where I was kind of a jerk and didn't want to go down to the Cook Convention Center to, well, now you've got more responsibilities as we get closer. And now you're here on the 15th anniversary. Well, it's the 15th year of our semi-annual con, because I do count the year that we got shut down for COVID as making it where it's not annual. And it's a sore spot that I poke at everybody else with, because I'm a jerk, but I'm a fun jerk.
There you go. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on
Thank
the
you.
15th. I say it's the 15th anniversary. You heard it.
Yeah.
Happy 15th.
And I will tell you, technically, the group that runs MCFC has done 16 cons, because we did the Memphis Gaming Expo down at the Landers Center. It was a one-off event. And because, we didn't have typical gaming, so we wanted to give people that we, an opportunity to see, all right, what can we do? And we worked with GameStop and stuff like that. And, we had all sorts of awesome things. And then we realized those of us who run this con do not know enough about gaming, so we needed more people. So,
Do you think you'd ever bring that back?
I would love to bring it back, but right now, the market here in Memphis is oversaturated with conventions and events.
A little bit.
Like right now, today, we're here on November 1st, and it's technically 2 weeks earlier than what our normal convention would be because of venue faux pas, which we don't really want to get into those because
we're making it work.
The creativity
NDAs.
of making things come together regardless of what happens.
Exactly.
And it was kind of fun setting up on Halloween. I'm not going to lie.
We're here the day after Halloween. Allie's still got her ghosty earrings on. We're having fun, even if it is just one day.
We've got three Dia de los Muertos skellies over in the audience.
Yes, we will take a
them to keep
picture
it down.
of our undead audience members to post with the rest of the stuff from this podcast when it comes out.
I convinced Joe that because we were technically taking part during the weekend of Day of the Dead, that I needed them.
Yes.
So Joe bought them for the convention.
They're awesome.
Gracias.
So yeah.
All right, so Allie, what's our next question for our wonderful guest?
Let's see, what is our next question? Okay, so running the convention is a lot of practical things, but there is a lot of creativity involved as well.
Oh, yeah.
So where does the creative come in when running a show?
Okay. I have joked before about being a convention organizer as being a con artist, because that is exactly what it is. The same thing, you have to set it up, you have to find the mark, you have to figure out everybody that you're going to be around. And you've got to jump through some very, I wouldn't say shady hoops, but you end up finding, right. You end
The
up
hoops
finding.
may or may not be on fire occasionally.
It's true.
We do a hula hoop.
But you find that, especially, and I've got to give complete props to Joe on this, there is some finagling, some tetrising, if you will, when it comes to putting the logistics alone of a con will draw on your creativity, because you have to know who your audience is. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we end up doing is MCFC changes. You look at Mid-South Con, you look at ShadowCon, you look at Anime Blues Con, and as much as we love those conventions, they're having to one-up themselves every year to make sure their audience stays. We don't like trying to one-up ourselves or our vendors or our artists and everything, because we love our artists. And that's actually one of the things that we like to do to begin with, is we've always been about promoting the arts. One of the biggest proponents of MCFC, and we want to get it back, it's been gone since COVID, and that is Geek 101, where we put the invitation out to the local schools, the local homeschool groups, everything else. And we would bring them in for, it was a con before the con. It was on Friday mornings, and it ran until about, from about 8 a.m. until about 1 or 2. And then we would actually start the con itself Friday afternoon about 4. But you did these field trips, and we'd have upwards of 2,000 kids come in, and we'd have people doing presentations where, they're showing you robotics. We have a professor over at the U of M who is big into robotics, and he would teach them how to do robotics. We have Dan Baker and Laura Johnson, who are local filmmakers. They would go and do things with the kids. Joe would go out and he would put out a call for stories. And then he would take the stories, the ideas that these kids would submit, go through them, and he would create a thing called the live cartoon that we would do, where it's a lot of Laura's art, a lot of local art that would be set up for it. One of our biggest one was Commander Currency, where our guest of honor at the time, we would always have like a voice actor, and it's like Jess Harnell has done voices for it. We've had just J. Michael Tatum did voices. When we had John Delancey here, he did one, and it's one of the most fascinating things. But our thing has been about the artist, so you have to make sure that you, in organizing your convention, you want to make sure that the theme you're going for, the artists match it. And Katie, I remember your first year here.
Yeah.
It was a very eventful year, but it was like I remember you getting here and you were just the exuberance, the excitement you had. That's what keeps us going.
And I will say, MCFC, that year that you met me was not only the first time I had ever been a artist / author / vendor at an event like this, because I had just brought my first 2 books out. It was also the first Comic-Con type event I had ever attended.
Really?
Yeah, because I grew up in the middle of nowhere in Texas, the nearest convention was like a 5-hour drive away or something. So there wasn't opportunities for that, and I was always too busy during the summer when I was in uni. So my first experience was MCFC, and this is my anchor con. I do this every year. This is how I count my milestones, and I do try to bring my new book for the year out every year here because I like celebrating with y'all.
And that's awesome. And I know your audience, if they haven't figured it out yet, Allie D is like just full on, just like
the queen of stickers.
Well, there's a positivity there. I kind of, and don't take this as any kind of shade, because it may sound this way. But you know how they tell you that if your dog doesn't like a person, you should stay away from that person? If you know a person who doesn't like Allie D, you need to stay away from that person, because that person is toxic. Because I don't know anybody who doesn't just, it's like you mentioned, or it's like we're setting up the tables, it's like Allie D art, and like Joe, I love that kid. It's like, because you bring this like it's this excitement, this positivity, and it's like it bleeds through and it's infectious.
And this is why I picked her for my co-host for this show.
It's like,
y'all making me blush.
I was sitting next to her. I was in a bad mood. I did not. It's not that I didn't want to be in Covington. I love my Covington people, but I did not want to be in Covington because I just didn't want to be anywhere. It was my birthday weekend. I wanted to go home and go to bed because I had just come from work. And you talking with people about your stickers and that, honestly, looking over and seeing that Luke's Diner cup every time, every quote from Gilmore Girls and everything is popping into my brain.
I knew there was a reason we were friends.
Right, and it's like, and so I'm like going, all right. And by the time it was it's like I was like excited. They were doing their little stamp scavenger hunt, and I was like calling kids over to do. It was just by the time, and I was hurting by the time the con was over. But it was just like I had a good time, and I will say a lot of that was because we were table buddies.
Oh, that means so much. Thank you. I mean, I feel like creativity and positivity, they go hand in hand, and
yes.
This con in particular has been so good to me. This is my 3rd year doing it. I believe 3rd year. Math is hard, but I think it's my 3rd.
We don't need math. We have pretty pictures, and we can share them with the world.
Yes.
But this is my 3rd year doing it, and this has always been one of the happiest shows I've done. You and Joe have just been so kind to be kind to all of us artists. I know artists who are like just starting out, and you welcome them with open arms, and it's just so special.
Well, and I see it, and again, I'm not trying to be mean to any other con, but I've seen like the layout. And guys, your artist alley, your vendors, the layout is very important.
Yes.
And this is another thing about convention logistics where you got to get a little creative. You need anchor points with big vendors, but you need to be able to showcase your local artist, your featured artist, any of your guests that are their whole point is to do the art, because the guy who's got the Darth Vader statue or the Jason Voorhees mask or anything like that, yes, you want those things. But your conventions aren't going to grow if you just focus on retail sellers at a con. You need to put a focus on the artists, because as their creativity grows, your audience, they'll come to your con simply because they know they're going to find that artist. That artist may still be at another convention that's like 20 minutes away, like 3 weeks earlier. But you've got to go through the rigmarole of getting through that whole vendor room, and usually the artists are in the back. And that... I'm going to be good because it's a podcast, and I have to be good when I do things on the radio too. But that's BS. I'm sorry. And if hate mail needs to come to me, cbrandonolmstead@gmail.com. Send it to me. Don't send it to the girls here because they're putting out a positive thing. I'm your enemy because I'm going to put the artists up front because without them, our conventions are never going to evolve past what they are.
And I think the thing that, as one of the artists / authors / whatever I am,
authors are artists.
Yes,
as one of the creative creatures who comes to this con every year in your artist alley, that's one of the things that I know I appreciate here is that y'all don't consider the artist alley an afterthought.
Yes.
Because there are some shows I've been to where that's all the focus is on the special guests and getting people into those signature lines, which is fine. That's what people go to those specific cons for.
Right.
Or all the focus is on the collectible vendors and things like that. Being at a con where the artists are treated kindly and not shoved into a corner where nobody can find us is really nice. And knowing that we're part of what y'all want here.
Right.
It's great.
I want everybody to look at the web. Well, don't look at the website. The website sucks. I'm working on getting. I'm working on getting that fixed. But look at our social media. Look at everything going on. A lot of people don't seem to realize we didn't bring in a guest this year. Our two main guests that we focused on, which we refer to as our featured, because we're not paying for anything. We're not trying to get you to come get autographs. We want you to come and experience these individuals. We've got KF Golden as our featured artist,
who is awesome.
And just recently they started doing. They got their license to be a full-fledged tattoo artist. The work is amazing and just an all-around great person. The other featured person is a cosplayer. She goes by the handle Rainy Day Roses, and she's been coming to the con for years. She's a fan of us. She wants to help out, and it's like, okay, she's doing a ballroom dancing lesson this year. She's putting on a wig styling thing. She's just doing so much, and she's another one of these. And I don't know if maybe it's because people my age have become jaded, because it's like, I'm going to go over this con, I'm going to get 14 different signatures of people that I remember from TV when I was a kid. And maybe what I want to do. But there's something about going into a space where every creative there is just putting out a positive, aura. And, and for an affordable price, which Joe would kill me if I didn't mention that. We try and keep it where you can bring the family, because passing down creativity and everything to the younger audience, that's where you get your new artists.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And we get people all the time who are like, "Hey, this is my first con. Do you have space for me?" And it's like, yes, I would rather sell an entire vendor room full of artist tables than get a guest that's going to bring in enough people for me to pay a mortgage. Like I'm not saying a monthly payment. I mean, bring in a full mortgage. I was like, yeah, that'd be great. But there's something about and Joe fostered this from the beginning. There's something about having your artist up front and center that it starts the con off on a different foot.
And I want to touch on that briefly about the younger generation coming in, because I feel like there's this phrase, I hate it, is the starving artist.
Oh dear.
And it kind of tells young people that, you can't make it as an artist. Artists aren't respected. I remember when I was a kid, I played the game of life, and one of the options was artist. And I always noticed how it was so low paying. It was just like this, I guess you can be an artist. No, I feel like this show in particular is really highlighting artists are valued. Artists of all types are valued. You, young one, you can be an artist and have success, make friends, make community, make beautiful art and share it with people. And I want more shows like this one to be highlighting that. This, like, I went to cons when I was younger and I wouldn't have to hunt for the artist alley. And I'm like, are they here? But here they are honored, that they are honored guests. They are honored by the showrunners. You and Joe have always made me feel so welcome and so special. Like, shout out to Joe, and I'm sure you were involved in it as well, that y'all gave me my special favorite table spot for years in a row. And that, just that small, that small gesture made me feel respected and valued as an artist, not just, we'll just shove you anywhere.
And see, and that is one of the things that's like, when we were at the Marriott, or later on when we were at the Holiday Inn, we always wanted to make sure the artists were the first thing you saw after you bought your tickets. Mm-hmm. Here at the Hilton, it's not as easy to do because it's one big room. And Joe was like, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do the fan tables out here just because, you know, we want to make sure that everything is secure, because this is the first time we've been back over here in years. We used to love being here, and the staff and the crew are awesome at the Hilton, but there's something sanitized about it that you don't get that you don't get like we did when we were at the U of M or when we were at the Marriott. And I love those little venues because of the fact that we can, if we have to separate things, like our cosplay contest when we were at the Marriott was downstairs in a ballroom around the corner past but it allowed you to focus on the artist when you first got there, because you come out up the stairs, there's registration, and then Artist Alley is in the front. You can't miss it. You know, it's like, you know, we have like Blackwater Crafts, and you know, we had you up front. You know, it's like,
you had the two of us and Sean up in the very front,
and then you put my dear friend Alex of CC's Cozy Corner, a very new, upcoming, wonderful crochet artist. Shout out. You put her right behind me.
So this year you put all of us shiny people right up next to each other. It is awesome.
Because there's something about the attitude that you get when people are positive, and it doesn't matter. I've seen you at shows where the sales weren't great, but you keep that positivity, you keep that optimism. And it's just one of those things when you put folks like that together, and if they don't sell pretty much the same thing, like if you've got two people who are doing crochet, animals, you don't put them next to each other.
Right.
Because the crochet world is very, very cutthroat and competitive. They're all sweethearts to you, and everything, but they will look at each other as if, somebody stole a knitting needle. But when you've got people and you realize how well they work together, you want to put them together so that they bring out the best in one another.
That's so true.
And we did have a slight issue with the way things were laid out this year because of the fact that we wanted to put you two together because y'all were both going to be away for this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you were going to share a helper.
Right.
At which point we had to move Alex as well, and the only place to put it was like that was safe was really right behind you.
And that worked out.
And it was like, all right, you guys, you're watching each other's back. It's like going into battle. You stand back to back with with your sword brother.
And then we've got Sean as our sword master as well.
Jonathan.
So. Me and him got to have a discussion.
But
No.
No, good discussion. I love talking to Sean.
There's a picture that he's got that I may have to get.
Oh dear.
But it's also it's watching it. That's the other thing about it. Is when you've got someone who has been with your convention for a while, and I'll call out John Martin for this one again. You get to watch their art evolve over the years, and you will find that you've got pictures that they've done along your wall. And you can look at them, and even if they're not lined up in year of how they come out, you can watch the progression, and you can bounce around and go, this was, 2015, that's 2016. We didn't see each other in 2017, that's 2018, 2019, we couldn't see each other 2020. And you look at your art wall, and you're like going, this, you're watching your friend evolve. And even if you only see these folks at the conventions, or hell, even just once a year, it gives you it's a sense of community that rivals the tightest families. Mm-hmm. And it can get a little weird sometimes because, you're thinking, it's like, all right, well, it's like you think you know this person, but it's through the cons. But you also you kind of get this whole parasocial thing. It's like, yeah, that's my buddy. It's like people give me grief when I talk about David Dismalchin. It's like, well, yes, my friend. Well, we have a fight going on between the two of us. This guy is multi-million-dollar Hollywood actor. Me, a guy on the radio who runs a convention. We are fighting about barbecue.
We are from Memphis.
When he was doing press for Late Night with the Devil. We're doing these, the girls, Joe's daughter and my kid, they ask him questions about, when you're filming this scary thing, you've got this possession story. What was the scariest thing on set? Yada, yada. It gets to me, it's like, so David, when you come back to Memphis so I can prove you wrong? And he goes, my Kansas City barbecue is going to beat your Memphis barbecue. And I was like, no, it's not.
No, it's not. Oh, no, it's not. That's fighting.
So I mean,
we're joining the fight.
And that's the thing is, he knows what I'm talking about when I bring it up.
So before we get into the barbecue wars, that I have no stake in because I'm a pescatarian.
No stake. You have brisket, maybe.
Pun intended. Pescatarian.
Oh,
not my thing. I'm from Texas, but I have no stake in the barbecue. So what is our next question for our wonderful guest?
Yeah, so I think we've kind of covered our question number 3 about what keeps you coming back. Yeah, it's your passion, your love of what you do, the love of the artist, the love of our Memphis art community.
And I will tell you, there's at least 3 times leading up to this convention where me and Joe both quit and wonder, you say, I don't know why we do this anymore. And then the show happens and it goes, this is why.
Yes.
Awesome. And the only way to truly answer that question is to come to an MCFC.
Exactly.
Yes. This is definitely worth coming to next year for those of you listening to this after it's recorded.
I guess this would be after the fact. Yes, please come next year. Okay, so our other question, this is a good one. I like this one. What advice would you have for other creatives? Doesn't have to be in this exact field, but just creatives in general.
Find your community.
Yes.
Find your place. First of all, don't give up no matter how many people tell you, you can't make a living at that, or why are you fiddling with that? You've got so many other things you can do. You're so good at this, you're so good at that, but you're like, I want to be a writer. I want to be an artist. I want to paint. I want to do pottery. I want to crochet. I want to go out onto a mountain and just yell weird things into the ether. If those are the things you love to do, don't let anybody tell you can't. And when you're trying to get to the utmost of your creative level, you find your community because those people will support you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people out there that you will feel are supporting you that are really just looking for a way to get in on something else because they know you're in on it. I hate when you realize that one of the people that you're around, you have to go. You're on my coattails, and I will drag you with me across the finish line. It's like, I don't care if you're on my coattails. I will drag you with me as long as as we need to go. But all I expect is loyalty and support. I will be loyal and supportive to you. But there are people where you will come to the conclusion, and I'm not going to say it's jealousy, but sometimes if you ever hear anybody say, "Well, they just get anything handed to them," when you've worked your butt off for it, those aren't your community. Your community is the guy who because you end up getting your favorite table, the guy who's across from you, who might not be doing as well, but he's always got a kind thing to say about your art.
Yes.
He's always super chill with you, and he might buy a thing or two. It's the young lady who's sitting behind you who y'all might you know each other well enough to share a cooler so that your water stays cold. Things like that. Those are your people.
I remember at my first convention, it was Memphis Comic Expo. That was my first, and my table neighbor was Taylor of T Park Art.
Oh, Taylor Park she's
I
so
love
awesome.
her. She was my very first convention friend, my first neighbor. And throughout the years I've been doing this, I've always been like, oh, yes, Taylor's here. And then so many other amazing friends I've met at these conventions, Katie included for sure. Yes. And I think of when you've kind of found your community, if I can add on to your advice, when you found your community, invite others into it. Like,
oh yeah.
Like, once again, I'm bringing up my friend Alex of CC's Cozy Corner. She was a customer at one of my tables. Yeah. And I was giving out these free stickers, and she really liked it. And then I invited her to my church with me, and then we started becoming good friends, and I knew she was a creative, and then I kind of was like, hey, do you want to come and work a convention with me? And then about a year and a half later, she has her own table, and she's met all of like my con friends. They've become her friends, and we've just networked, and I just
And she's an absolute delight.
Oh, she's amazing. I just love watching how she has branched out. So, yes to your advice. Invite your friends. Invite your creative friends into this circle. We want you in this circle.
and within reason, if you can't get your friends into that circle, in the most respectful way, drag them in. I know. Yes. Look. The convention community is made up of introverts and people on the spectrum who are just looking for their place. And a lot of times they're like, well, these people aren't going to, they don't care what I think. They don't. Yes, we do.
Yes.
It's one of the things I love about this, the Memphis con community in itself is that it is so viscerally diverse, whether it be through neurodiversity, gender diversity, whatever, you're faith-based. I mean, everybody has found something that they can go, I'm going to throw away all those things in this world that people outside of this community are trying to use to be divisive. And we can come together and go, we may not have the same politics. We may not have the same religion. We may not have the same, identity. But what we have is a love of art. And I didn't realize how much that was important to me until I started working with Joe. And, through Geek 101 and seeing what, them promoting the arts amongst children because, kids are being told, if you're smart, you got to do this. If you aren't smart, you got to play sports. If you can't do this, you got to do that. Some kids just want to paint.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they never give them that option. And then, people are always trying to cut funding for this to give it to that. And it's like, we've seen people that we know go before Congress and testify on the importance of arts and music and writing and everything in your English class should not be 97% grammar and only 3% literature. Literature is very important. I was an advanced student. I went through the CLUE program from the time I was in third grade. By the time I was in ninth, my English classes were nothing but literature. You couldn't teach me anything else in grammar. And I feel that because I've read so many diverse things and so many things that would have never crossed my path if it wasn't for those, literature teachers. So the arts are very important. And again, that's why I want to bring back Geek 101. I want to get the field trips back together. Yes. And Joe used to love, he would thrive at those things. Him in front of a bunch of kids is just so cool.
So when you bring it back, we're going to record an episode as part of Geek 101.
Absolutely.
And have some guest, little creators.
Because that's something else we need to let people know. Especially in this world, we have gotten to the point where podcast has become such a manosphere thing, and I hate it. Yes, Geek Tank Radio, it's three middle-aged white guys talking about pop culture.
Fun.
But we love bringing in people like Laura Johnson or Claire McKelvey, and these are people we've met through the cons. Mm-hmm. And just letting them get a chance to give Joe grief because that's part of the show. But it's so much fun to have those voices that are coming from a different angle because it opens you up to an audience you didn't realize you needed to be a part of.
Yes.
It opens you up to creative endeavors. Somebody recommended, K-pop dramas to my wife. She has become infatuated with everything that we can get on Netflix or anything. And I find myself sitting down, I'm really going, okay, how many more episodes of Forecasting of Love and Weather do we have? and she goes, I'm on the last one. I was like, because that means I have to go back and watch it by myself.
Oh no! But yes, I totally agree with like. I feel like when you bring in the younger generation of the kids, that you are going to be introducing them to like all this diversity, all these different people, all these different ways of thinking. So I totally agree with that. Bring them in. So I really quickly want to get to our final question because it's one of my favorites, and we're getting close.
Final question, and then we'll open it up to our audience if they have any quick Q&A questions for us.
Yes.
Okay.
But so, final question. This is the big important.
The big one. Dun, dun, dun. So, as you can see on our cards, we have our creative creatures. And I think Katie said creative creatures earlier.
Yes. So, Allie and I are butter squirrels.
We're butter squirrels. Okay. So, we believe that everybody can be a creative creature. Now, we want to know, what kind of creative creature are you?
Yes. We had a tiger on the show on the episode that's dropping while we're recording all of this.
I think my creative creature has a little bit of possum on their mother's side.
Yeah. A little bit.
Are you sure it's on the mother's side?
Yeah, we don't want to talk about it.
Okay. All right.
But yes, what kind of creative creature are you?
I'm an ocelot.
Oh,
I love it. I love it.
Do tell.
Yeah, so why an ocelot?
Why would I give you the secret?
Oh, snap.
Have you seen what I do? The running around. It's more along the lines of just so they. When it comes down to it, maybe a meerkat. I may be a meerkat.
Oh, I love the meerkats.
Because it's all about communal support. I may not be out there for your protest, but I will make you a sign and I will drive you out there. But it's only because I have to sleep. And me and the sun don't get along.
And during the convention, you're skittering from place to place.
Yeah.
Your head.
And if you notice, if there's a dark corner, that's where I'll set my check-in at.
Yeah. Okay. So meerkat with ocelot spots. That's what we're going to call it.
Meerkat with ocelot spots. Got it.
I mean, the truth is I'm a Pokemon, but
Well,
that's great.
But we can't ask what Pokemon you are because we can't.
Well, no, I know. It's like I can't go into detail, but it's like I'm
meerkat with ocelot.
Meerkat with ocelot. Or hey. My dad could have been an ocelot. My mom's a meerkat. And the truth is, I was raised by strong women. My dad was there, and he was very supportive. But my mother, my aunts, everything else, they're the things. They got me into comics. They got me into toy collecting. They got me into just the creatives. My mom taught me how to read with The Hobbit.
I love that book. It's my favorite book.
That's so awesome.
I decided I didn't like Tolkien when I was 8 years old, and I was tired of reading about clouds, but I can go look and stare at clouds on my own.
Or the trees.
But I learned to read with The Hobbit, and I read the Elric series, and I read all the Dragonlance books, and I'm a huge fan of dragons, but I could never be a dragon.
Yeah. So we want to open it up to our lovely audience. If you have any quick questions. You three in the back? Yes, sir.
Well, I had noticed that when I got to the convention, I just saw in the corner there was like this sculpture in the corner, and then when I was walking down the hall, I saw a couple more. What are those about?
Okay, they're treat stations.
Ooh,
there are things. There are candy. There are stress balls. There are squishy skeletons. There are spider rings. There are vampire fangs. All of these things are part of MCFC's Trick or Treat, extension for November 1st. My wife and her friend Elizabeth created those. They were in this exact room yesterday, putting those together. Drop cloths everywhere, glitter and pebbles and all sorts of things, because she came up with an idea, and Joe goes, "That's awesome, run with it." I thought we were going to get 10 cocktail tables and put Halloween bowls on them. No, we collected every bit of cardboard in the house for at least 3 weeks. If you look, there's one where the tablecloth on it is thin enough that you can tell that those are A&W ice cream soda zero sugar can boxes.
We will take some pictures of these before the end of the convention to post when this episode comes out, because they're awesome.
There's 10 of them throughout, and there's a tree and there's skeletons hanging from it. It's just, but yeah, this is something, and that's what they are, and feel free to hit those stations, and there are 10 different ones. I don't know what's in each station.
You'll find out.
But I mean, everybody should find out together.
Trick or treat.
Awesome. Yep. So did we have one more question?
So you talked about the Geek 101 and in the field trips, and you're trying to get that back into the, is it just up to the schools, or what's the whole?
The last couple of years, we have fallen on, MCFC fell on the weekend where they were celebrating Veterans Day on Friday.
Oh.
And of course, right after COVID, they were very concerned about, doing field trips in general. We're trying to keep the kids safe, and I understand that completely. But the kids, as much as, everybody was like, open the schools. We got to get the kids back in schools. They got to be able to socialize. They can't be off. We got to get the kids out of the schools and into the world too.
Yes.
And MCFC is a wonderful place to do that because they get to experience the artist. They get to experience, classes and lessons that they're not going to get in the walls of a public school. And it's really just been about inconvenience. If we decide to keep this date more around Halloween than anything else, I can see Joe making a major push to bring Geek 101 back within the next year or so. And I know I'm putting words in his mouth, but I will also poke him in the side while saying we need to bring it back because it really was something unique and different. And that's what MCFC has always been about, is we don't want to be your cookie cutter TradCon. We want to bring the artists. We want to bring the weird. I mean, there's Oddities conventions, and those are beautiful, but we want to bring the family-friendly, all-inclusive weird. And Geek 101 helps us do that.
Awesome. So our last thing, so I get it on the recording.
Okay.
Where can our wonderful folks find you, and is there anything you want to promote aside from MCFC, because we've already established that this is awesome and they should come next year?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I want to go ahead and put it out there that you can listen to Geek Tank Radio on 98.1 The Max, or you can find it as a podcast afterwards pretty much anywhere. But the best place to listen to it is actually on YouTube.
Nice. Links will be in the description.
Yeah, and while you're there, check out everything else that Dark Oak Media has on their site, because that's Alan Gilbreth. He is the guy who's gotten me into more trouble that has led to me being here, and then anybody else within the geek community. He has been a mentor, but he'll never say it, because when I do something bad, he pretends it's not his fault, but it usually is. You can also make sure that you hit us on all the socials. Geek Tank Radio is, we got Facebook, we've got, I think that might be it, but as far as MCFC goes, we're on Instagram, we are on Discord. Our Discord is open to anybody and everybody who is a fan of the convention, and even people who've never been who want to come. We will get links to you guys so that y'all can post those. That is run actually by a young lady named Allie Gossett. Her and her partner have, they asked permission to do it. I was like, that would be awesome. And they have run it, and they keep it civil.
Yes.
They are very good about that.
It's a nice, wholesome Discord server where we can, all of us artists and things are on there, so you can connect with us and we can discuss plots and plans for next year.
Absolutely.
So that is a great place to find us. Is there anything else you want on the recording there? We've got a TikTok, but it's sad. We really need someone to do TikToks for us, because Joe doesn't understand it, but he's the one who runs the TikTok. And I think this may just be more blackmail material for anybody who goes, all right, I need something on Joe. Let's go look at the TikTok.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Well, those of you who are on TikTok and all the other socials, if you did come to MCFC today while we're recording, do post your pictures and tag MCFC so that they can see what you're up to and maybe reshare things so that there's more content on their feeds.
Absolutely.
Put the content.
So we're going to thank you so much
for
joining us today. We are so happy you let us do this. This is our first recording live at an event, and we have loved having you as a guest. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much. This has been just a blast.
I had a lot of fun. It's also really weird to be the focus of a show instead of being focusing on someone on a show.
It's about time you got the recognition you deserve.
I don't know.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think so.
So thank you so much, and we will see all of you next time on the PepTalk Creative Corner podcast with our next wonderful guest.
Who will it be?
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
The PepTalk Creative Corner podcast is brought to you by PepTalk Productions, LLC and PepTalk Creative Arts. This podcast and all of its content are copyright 2025 PepTalk Productions, LLC. This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views expressed are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any other person, agency, company, or organization. PepTalk Productions, LLC and the podcast hosts are not responsible for any losses, damages, or liabilities resulting from the use of the information provided in this podcast. Do not rely on this content as medical, legal, or financial advice. Please consult a qualified professional for advice tailored to your specific situation. This episode may contain sponsored content or affiliate links. No AI was used in the creation of the contents of this podcast. You can find out more about the PepTalk Productions, LLC catalog of books and services, as well as the PepTalk Creative Corner podcast by going to our website, www.peptalkproductionsllc.com. Thank you for listening.